It is November 1932 in the wheat belt of Western Australia. The Great Depression has already brought the country to its knees. Unemployment is rampant. Wheat prices have collapsed so low that many farmers cannot even cover their costs. Thousands of ex-soldiers who fought bravely in the First World War were given small blocks of marginal land under the Soldier Settlement Scheme. The promise was simple: fight for your country, and your country will give you land to build a new life. But reality was cruel. Many of these men had no farming experience. The land they received was often poor quality, rocky, and difficult to cultivate. The seasons were dry. Wheat prices kept falling. Families were struggling to put food on the table. For many, the dream of a new beginning had turned into a daily battle for survival. Then came a new and unexpected threat that pushed many of them over the edge. Large numbers of emus, hundreds, then thousands, began moving into the farmland from the surrounding scrubland. These birds were looking for food and water after a long period of drought. They broke through fences, trampled young wheat crops, and ate whatever had managed to grow. For the already struggling farmers, this was the final blow. Their crops, which represented months of back-breaking work and their only hope for survival, were being destroyed before their eyes. Desperate and feeling abandoned by both nature and the government, the farmers did what many citizens do in times of crisis. They petitioned the government for help. The Western Australian government listened to their pleas. On 2 November 1932, the Australian Army was officially deployed to deal with the emu problem. This was not a joke. This was not a metaphor. This was the beginning of what history now remembers as the Great Emu War of 1932, one of the most unusual and ultimately unsuccessful military operations in modern times. The operation was placed under the command of Major G.P.W. Meredith of the 7th Heavy Battery of the Royal Australian Artillery. He was given 2 soldiers and 2 Lewis machine guns, the same light machine guns that had seen service in the trenches of the First World War. The official goal was to reduce the emu population and protect the farmers' remaining crops. The first major action took place on 2 November near the town of Campion. The soldiers set up an ambush near a water source where large groups of emus were known to gather. When a flock of about 50 emus approached, the soldiers opened fire. What happened next surprised everyone involved. The emus scattered instantly in every direction at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. The Lewis guns jammed repeatedly in the heat and dust. By the end of the day, the soldiers had killed only a small number of birds. The rest escaped easily into the bush. Over the next few days, the operation continued. The soldiers tried using vehicles to chase the emus across the open plains. They set up better firing positions and even fired from moving trucks. They used thousands of rounds of ammunition. But the emus proved to be remarkably difficult targets. They were fast, agile, and highly adaptive. When attacked, they would split into smaller groups, making them harder to hit. They used the terrain, bushes, small hills, and open plains to their advantage. The machine guns kept jamming in the hot, dusty conditions of the Australian outback. Major Meredith later wrote in his official report that the emus had proved they were not so stupid as they are usually thought to be. He also noted that the birds had quickly learned to avoid the soldiers. By 8 November, after several days of operations, the Army withdrew. According to official records, approximately 2,500 rounds had been fired, and only around 986 emus had been killed. Many more were wounded, but not counted. The military operation was declared a failure. The farmers were bitterly disappointed. The government was embarrassed. Newspapers across Australia and even internationally turned the event into a source of ridicule. Cartoons appeared showing Australian soldiers losing to birds. The event quickly became a national joke. Eventually, the government changed its approach. Instead of sending the army, they offered a bounty to farmers and professional shooters. This method proved far more effective.
In the following months, over 57,000 emus were killed through bounty hunting. So why did the military operation fail so badly? There were several reasons. First, the emus were much faster and more adaptable than anyone had anticipated. Second, the Lewis guns were not well suited for the hot, dusty conditions of the Australian outback. Third, the soldiers were few in number and the area they had to cover was vast. And fourth, the emus were not a concentrated enemy force. They were wild animals simply looking for food and water. The Great Emu War is often remembered today with humor, but it was a very real problem for the farmers who had already suffered so much during the Great Depression. It also highlights the difficult and ongoing relationship between humans and wildlife in Australia. The event remains a fascinating case study in how governments sometimes make hasty decisions under pressure from desperate citizens, and how nature can humble even the best-equipped military force. If you enjoyed this detailed and factual account of one of history's most unusual military campaigns, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. Every week, I bring you well-researched, clear stories from history based on real events and records. In the comments, tell me one thing. Do you think the government's decision to send the army against the emus was a reasonable response to the farmers' crisis, or was it a clear overreaction? And why do you think that? I read every single comment and reply to as many as I can. If you want more videos like this, real, informative, and engaging stories from history, you already know what to do. Subscribe, drop your honest opinion in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.